Hello, and welcome to Dolphin Dive, the weekly strategically minded Handelabra stream hosted at Handelabra Games by LogicDolphin. Handelabra believes in civil rights for everyone and in being as inclusive as possible, so any comments or excuse me, activity actively working against those goals are not welcome and will not be tolerated. And with that, we begin. New game, 2 boards, any complexity, random adversary, no supporting adversary. We are granted England with Bringer of Dreams and Nightmares and Eyes Watch from the Trees. Played with Bringer last week. I guess we're going to play him again, but this time we're playing Despicable Theft. So what is Despicable Theft? Small groups of invaders have been searching the island and a few have found wonders. If they make it home, their people will stop at nothing to seek out more such fantastic treasures. Even those without wonders have tales and trophies that may bolster the invaders' resolve to stay. This scenario is notably easier for spirits with strong movement and isolate abilities, such as Finder of Paths Unseen. This scenario is notably harder for spirits with poor ability to move to Han, for spirits with poor ability to damage or move invaders, on thematic boards as more lands will spawn thieves. Poor ability to damage invaders. Hi Bringer, how you doing? I guess you could still move them, so. Difficulty 2. Setup changes. There's a pool of 18 numbered thieves, 12 blank ones, and 111223. They represent small groups trying to escape with knowledge or treasure. What thieves do. Arrive with explorers. After setup, when invaders successfully explore into a land numbered 6 or higher, one thief is added there from the pool. Seek to escape by ship. Before the Ravage step, all thieves on the island move. Thieves adjacent to the ocean escape. For each, lose 4 earned fear if possible. If the thief has a number, also accelerate the invader deck that many times. Which means to discard the topmost card of the lowest invader stage remaining in the deck. Other thieves move 1 land towards their board's ocean if possible. Thieves do not count as invaders and do not participate in invader actions. Thieves may be affected by players' actions only as if they were explorers. They are not explorers for any other rule or purpose, including fear cards, event cards, etc. They have 1 health. Thieves' numbers are unknown by default, but known while in lands with 2 or more Dahan. Thieves can only be destroyed, removed, or replaced in lands with no buildings and 2 or more Dahan. Otherwise, they elude you and are saved and pushed. Save thieves only if they would be safe both before and after the destroy, remove, replace instruction. So 3 damage to a land with 1 town and 1 thief would destroy both. Generate 1 fear per destroyed thief. Thieves no longer on the island are mixed into the pool at the end of turn. Save thieves only if they be safe both before and after. Okay, so if you destroy the town and the thief would have been safe before the town destruction, but not after, so it's not safe. Okay. So pretty much, they are sort of explorers. They do not participate in invader actions, so they don't participate in ravages. But the thing is that after the ravage step, before the ravage step, rather, thieves adjacent to the ocean escape. Other thieves move on land towards the board's ocean. We lose 4 earned fear, and if they have a number, we accelerate. But there's only a 33% chance that a thief has a number, and we'll only know if they have a number if they are in a land with 2 or more Dahan. They only enter the board after setup when they explore into a land numbered 6 or higher. So we don't start with 1 in the game, but if we can block the inner lands, that'd be better. Can only be removed, destroyed, blah, 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 in lands with no buildings and 2 or more Dahan. So we need Dahan, we need no buildings, which is great because we're playing England. So, yeah, so England, proud and mighty capital. If 7 or more buildings are ever in a single land, the invaders win. Escalation is building boom. On each board with buildings, build in the land with the most buildings. Indentured servants earn land. Invader build actions affect lands without invaders if they are adjacent to at least 2 buildings before the build action. Also, criminals and malcontents during setup on each board add a city to land number 1 and a town to land number 2. And we have 4/4/3 fear cards. So, they start with extra buildings. Build actions affect lands if they're adjacent to at least 2 buildings. So it'd be hard to isolate the inner lands. And we also have to deal with the silly, you know, thieves. We have Bringer of Dreams and Nightmares. Your powers never cause damage, nor can they destroy anything other than your own presence. So I guess they can't ever destroy thieves either, right? Is that true? Yeah, 1 fear per destroyed thief, but Bringer cannot destroy anything, so that's going to be fun. When your powers would destroy or deal enough damage to destroy an explorer town or city, generate 0, 2, or 5 fear instead. The power pushes all explorers towns it would destroy. Notes: a single power cannot destroy a given invader more than once. Powers which cause damage via Dahan are affected just like all others. All effects other than damage and destroy work as usual. The innate powers: spirits may yet dream. 2 moon, 2 air. Turn any face card, fear card face up. It's earned resolved normally, but players can see what's coming up. And a 3 moon, target spirit gains an element they have at least 1 of. Also, night terrors. At 1 moon, 1 air, we get 1 fear. At 2 moon, 1 air, 1 animal, we get +1 fear. At 3 moon, 2 air, 1 animal, we get +1 fear. I also have Eyes Watch from the Trees. Oh, and also, let's not forget this setup. That's important. Bringers setup, put 2 presents on your starting board in the highest numbered sands. Eyes Watch from the Trees, put 2 presents on your starting board in the highest numbered jungle. Aha! Sands and jungle. Special rules: Dahan trust the Watchers. After one of your powers adds Defend to a single land, gather up to 1 Dahan into that land. Power includes both your innate power and your power cards. Can be used with any number of Defend powers each turn. Aha. Innate power: Mischief and Sabotage. Add 1 moon, 2 plant, 1 fear and defend 2. At 2 moon, 3 plant, instead 1 fear and defend 4. At 2 moon, 2 air, 4 plant, instead 3 fear and defend 6. And at 3 moon, 3 air, 5 plant, instead 5 fear and defend 12. So we can... They may be affected by players' actions only as if they were explorers. So, things that say damage should be able to affect them. Yeah, push up to 2 explorers' towns should be able to affect them too, right? I would assume so. They have 1 health, yeah, so that implies damage. And I assume what would probably happen then is that if I would try to destroy a thief with Bringer, we treat it as an explorer, so it would get pushed. So that's my interpretation of the rules, and we shall see if that is true. But let us play. Sands. All right. Sandsy, Sandsy. No thieves on the island yet. So what shall we do? Defend 8 is a very powerful defend, and we could do that in D7 as there's 2 Dahan in there. They're building a city, and this will gather a Dahan, so that would be enough damage to clear them out. So I kind of like that thought. There's nothing in this land, right? Just the Explorer. Could potentially spend 1 million energy to push it out with Predatory Nightmares. Not really generally fond of that, but is a thought. What shall I do? There are Dahan in B3. There's no neighboring Dahan, so like Dreams of the Dahan are not going to be super good. But we could potentially dread apparitions there next turn, which would require me to have a presence in that land for me to capitalize on night terrors. If I really want to capitalize, I'd probably want to play Calling Midnight's Dreams next turn in that land. I could look at a power card this turn and see if I get an animal card, so I don't have to play like Call of Midnight Streams next turn. I generally like to play this on turn 1 to try to get a turn 1 major, but there's not really good Dahan lands here. The Sands only... These two have Dahan. This is range 4, so I could grow into that land. And then, you know, do all the actions to gather a million Dahan in there. The major issue, no pun intended, is that I'm doing nothing towards these two lands here. So for instance, if I wanted to do Dread Apparitions in B3 next turn, I'm not anywhere close to that land, so I would need to use growth option 4 again, which would mean I'm very likely just going to reclaim all cards. But I mean, it's not like it's a bad thing to put a million Dahan in D7. We were going to put a defense 6 in the next turn, which would have been enough with all the Dahan, but I mean, it's not like it's terrible to do that. Potentially we do have this defend 2 off of Eyes Watch to defend 2 in B3. So that wouldn't be the worst. I guess the other issue is that B5 are doing nothing for. So I'd be losing a presence, but having one destroyed presence is not a big deal. And D4's Ravage also would be going off, but I don't really care about that one either. So I guess I could try that. Let's try it. Let's go up energy track because elements. Let's play these cards and then see what happens with Eyes Watch. Assuming that I'm playing Boon of Watchful Guarding next turn, what card am I going to play this turn? Let me think for a sec. If I spam growth option 3, I'm placing 3 presents across 3 turns. I play 2, 4, 7 cards, but I would gain a power card every single turn. Is that a viable option? Let's try it. I like to get a lot of presents out, but let's see how this works, because this gets me to 3 card plays with 7 power cards, and I also gain an extra energy each turn. So it might work. We are looking for primarily Moon and Plant, which Thriving Choke Fungus gives us. It's not immediately relevant for this turn, though. Otherwise, we don't really have an innate Moon coming up or a plant. But if I were to ignore the fact that I would like moons, I could just go for a plant card. And Entrap the Forces of Corruption gives us an Isolate, which could be useful for preventing explorers into lands 6, 7, or 8. Is this my first game playing with Eyes Watching? Nope. It is not. If you're wondering why I'm talking about viable options, I don't really look into the meta of spirits. I just think as I play. But I've definitely played Eyes Watch a number of times. I just don't like to fall into, oh, this is this spirit, this is how you always spend the first 5 turns. You know, do this, do that, do this, do that. You have to react to what the game gives you. Anyway. There's no blights in any of the sands, so it's not like we really need the gathered blight right now. The isolate could be cool, the preventing cascades could be cool, but I think I just want to stick with elements for now. How do I feel about Eyes Watch as a whole? I don't know. I haven't played the Spirit yet. I'm kidding. I mean, Defend and Gathering to Hun is a nice synergy for sure. Other than that, I don't know. Because, like, I like to try to make sure I always get the defends going every turn. But I like the hoot hoot. Hoot hoot. Hoot hoot. Hoot hoot. Alright, so what am I doing? I'm gonna have 2 energy. I mean, I could stop the D4 build. No, I cannot stop the D4 build because there's 2 buildings next to it. I cannot stop the B5 build because there's 2 buildings next to it. Those things are not possible. Range 1 from jungle, gather 3 to Han. Don't think I want this for this turn. I would like to probably play it next turn after we're done with the D7 Ravage. Get the Dahan out to some other land that we can throw Dahan in. Driving Choke Fungus, there is a 2 in 3 chance that they are going to explore into a jungle or wetlands. But I cannot afford both Thriving Choke Fungus and Eerie Noises and Moving Trees. But I do want to get to 2 card plays. So what am I doing? Range 1, Sacred Site, Jungle Wetlands. That said, I am only next to 1 Jungle Wetlands right now. I'm only putting 1 presence down, so I can't make another Sacred Site. So that's a little awkward. I guess Thriving Choke Fungus is going in D6 then. I don't know what I want to play. These aren't doing that much. Guess I could try to get rid. I don't want to play this right because I guess I'm gonna go up the card place track and play only 1 card. Let's go into jungles since I have a card that says jungles. And I will Thrive the Choke Fungus. What if I don't play a card? Having said what I said, what if I don't play a card? Because I don't really have many wetlands I'm next to right now. But what if I don't play this? Make a Sacred Site in B4 next turn. Use Growth Option 2 to even, like, kind of just mulligan this turn. That sounds weird. I kind of like that thought, though. Because these cards aren't doing much right now. So I'm going to go ahead and start with 0 card plays on 1 Spirit, and we shall see what happens. But first, I'm going to get... Well, yeah, let's see the Fear card. Alright, point of no return. Each player may push up to 2 explorers from an inland land. That does not affect thieves, as they cannot be affected by Fear cards. Let's get the Fear before we lose it. Let's gather 2 Dahan. And then Midnight Streams. Gain Major. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Push all explorers towards the nearest ocean is not good for thieves. Remove up to 3 health worth of invaders. That does bypass Bringer's rule. Honestly, really tempting. Repeat a power card by paying its cost. Obviously, if I play that this turn, that's going on Bringer, which is going on Dreams of the Dahan, but... Add a beasts, gather beasts. For each beast's 1 fear, invader skip 1 action. Meh. Let's just remove Health of Invaders, because Bringer can't do that normally. And let's go ahead and ditch this and play this. And potentially use that to destroy thieves. Jungle. They are going into a jungle. Hello, thief. He has the number 0. But this guy has no number. So... they move one land towards their board's ocean. So, like, this number here is actually a lie. That is the nearest ocean, but that's not this board's ocean. So that's misleading. Okay. So we do not know the number on this thief. We do know the number on this thief. This thief is a 0, so it's 0 cards accelerated. But it would still remove 4 fear if it reaches the ocean. But this thief... all we have to do is gather 1 Dahan. And then we can remove the thief. Well, no, because... okay, never mind. Forget what I said, because they can only be removed in lands with 2 or more Dahan. So my original thought is defend here, defend here. I think I can still gather 2 Dahan. Gather this one, and then defend 3. Well, defend 6 or whatever, but I don't even have to gather because there'll be enough. That can ravage, and that's fine. That's ravaging and less fine, and then build. And that build is gonna happen? No, it's not gonna happen. If these buildings are all destroyed, this build doesn't happen. So for that reason, I want to destroy these. It was a 0. We did not generate a fear because that thief was not destroyed. We just removed it. Fun fact. But I'm Bringer, so it's hard for me to actually destroy things. In fact, it's impossible unless it's my own presence. Okay. So I can defend this with Eyes Watch. And since I didn't play a card last turn, I can just do this middle growth option and pretend that I played 3 cards. I could even get to 3 card plays this turn, which is interesting. Instead of the calculus being that I do this option 3 times and get to 7 cards, I can do this growth up. I can do this to get to 3 card plays this turn, play 3 cards this turn, and then next turn do this growth option to play 3 cards. I would finish the next turn with 6 cards, but I also have an innate plant. Assuming I have the energy for that, which I will. I could spend this to get up the energy track instead, but energy is lame. Who needs energy? Any reason that I want to reclaim, inspire the release of stolen lands? I guess we could try to destroy that thief as well, but destroying thieves in general is going to be rather difficult, so maybe it's better to just try not to worry about them as much. Just make sure that they're not going to accelerate the invader deck. Yes, we will lose accumulated fear, but only accumulated fear. If we have 0 fear in the fear pool, then we don't actually lose anything. So maybe we try to make sure they don't remove fear or otherwise don't accelerate the invader deck. Okay. We are losing this sacred site this turn. Not necessarily. We can dread apparitions and save it, but there's no Dahan in that land. So should I reclaim Dreams of the Dahan? Or should I not? Maybe I could just gain a power card and see what it is and use that to decide whether I should defend there or not. It's not really like a big deal. Like the only thing I'm gonna lose is my presence. I'm gonna gain a power card. Lure of the Unknown. Good elements for Bringer. No animal, so I can't get this. Could do Twilight Fog brings Madness. Could try to strife the town in B8. Main issue is I kind of like to use Predatory Nightmares to push the town in B4, maybe? Also, bear in mind they're not actually building there. Because we're going to have these defended. There will only be one building next to D6, so that's not building. I guess B8's not building. If B8 is not building, then I should use Lure of the Unknown to stop that build. Less things to worry about, right? Preventing builds is generally a good idea. Okay. And so for me to keep the sacred site, I'm going to need to triple stack that. But then I will push the town out of B4. That is still blighting, but this is not building. Defend 4 is not going to be enough in D2 next turn. We don't need defend 4 this turn. We just need defend 2 in B3. Although, kind of just gonna end up with that anyway. I could actually kill the thief in B8 using mysterious abductions. Jungle wetland. So we wanted a secret site in B4 to have thriving choke fungus do something. I'm just trying to think where I want this other presence to go. If I do like this, and then sacred site there, then I can do mysterious abductions in B8. The only concern is D2, but I can get... I won't have the sacred site nearby the next turn, but I could just gather the Dahan out of there. Either into D1 or D5. They are exploring other wetlands or mountains, so Whisper Guidance saves the Dahan in D2. And then we wanted this for D7. Okay, and I'm getting the innate plant next turn, so I'm guaranteed hit defend 4, but I mean, I don't even need the defend next turn. Spend energy. Oh, I'm not in D7. Oh, right, because I'm supposed to use this on you. And then we don't need to gather. But we do want to gather there. What was the event card that I think it's in a land adjacent to or in a coastal city convert to a Dahan? Isn't that the one? Let's see. On each board in a land with exactly one Dahan that has or is adjacent to a city. Okay, so it's not coastal. So for that reason, I think I want to actually gather that Dahan. Just in case. I mean, this Dahan is going to get converted if that happens, and this Dahan gets converted. Maybe that means I didn't have to do it. Whatever, it's fine. Yes, confirm that is a thief, or is an explorer for this. Destroy the thief, generates the fear. Gather this explorer to prevent that build. Guess we did have that fear card, but we're not generating enough fear to get it. But it is a thought. So fear. Turn the next fear card face up. Each player may gather a town into a coastal land. Sacred sites under threat. Okay. Invaders have begun to find hidden places of natural power. You may let the island's strength repulse them or guard them yourself for well or ill. Costs 3 energy per land where you do damage, aided by fire. Spend 6 for all. We have 3 fire right now. In each land with sacred sites and invaders, either do 2 damage or destroy a presence from each spirit. We also have that each beast generates a fear if invaders are present and moves to an adjacent land if not, and each spirit with at least 4 Dahan among its lands gains a minor power. From Spirit Speaker, Solve Riddles of Power. So Bringer is in a land with 5 Dahan, and Eyes Watch has 2 Dahan. I think we're definitely just gonna guard, right? Destroy the town in B5, and that saves that presence. And then the other sacred site with invaders is... oh, B4. I apparently did not play Thriving Choke Fungus after having made that sacred site, so I don't need that sacred site this turn. Destroying that explorer doesn't stop the build, because there's gonna still be these coastal buildings. And I'm spending 3 energy because I don't have any fire cards in hand. I could forget a fire card, which would be one of these or that one, but that seems expensive for the cost. Because, like, spending 3 energy, spend it off of Bringer, I guess, but forgetting a power card is... I don't think that's going to happen. Just to prevent a presence destruction. Having a destroyed presence is fine. This cares about sacred sites, I guess, but we don't need the sacred site here next turn. I guess we have the sacred site too, but like we don't need to defend B4 next turn. So we will guard yourself, but we're not going to spend any energy. We're gonna deal 2 damage in this land, destroy that town. That does give us a fear card. You should probably push up to 2 explorers from an inland land. That still doesn't do much. Beasts generate fear, so we're always getting that fear anyway. And then this beast moves to adjacent land, move to D2, and then Bringer gains a minor power. Delusion's a danger? Pay 1 energy to make this power fast, 2 fear, 1 damage, or I could just have a power that gives me 2 fear fast already, when I can't even really deal damage anyway. I think it's just Delusion's a danger. I don't think adding Badlands is that helpful here. Target spirit may add 1 of their destroyed presence. Aha! I'll just take Delusions to danger, though. Oh my god, it's retreat. No way. Obviously, we can daisy chain explorers over here. This land's blighting no matter what. We could get more into D7, but that would be a daisy chain that would only result in 1 explorer dying. B4 is always building. I guess I could push the explorer out just so that there's no risk of extra damage off of a Ravage. I guess I could push into B3 and it dies. Could push the B7 guy in case they explore mountains. I guess I could... I mean... I can't really add 1 more explorer to B3. Sorry, I can't add 2 more explorers to B3 because I can only kill 1 town and 2 explorers. So there's not much purpose in trying to daisy chain into B3 for that purpose. Regardless, I'm definitely pushing B4 into B3. The question is, which other explorer am I getting rid of? And I don't have to, obviously, but... The next fear card is gather a town into a coastal land. Don't think that's going to be helpful for, like, solving D2, for instance, but that's irrelevant here anyway. Yeah, let's just do that. And let's just do this. Nope, not there. That was the wrong one. Actually, I take back what I said. If I do daisy chain, it's a little better, I guess, as they're not going to explore sands this turn. Wetlands. That's a thief into B6. We do not know the number on that thief. Gather 3 to Hun. Can't gather into that wetlands. Could gather into that one, but there's no neighboring Dahan. Obviously predatory nightmares here. I mean, I say obviously, but is that obvious? Might be better to do it here. That thief's gonna move into B1 after the next Ravage. So like I feel that I could use Predatory Nightmares in B4 to push the town, but I also have like a defend that's largely useless next turn. I mean, I guess I don't have a Sacred Site here, but I could put a presence there to make that happen, and then I would be able to defend there, destroying the town directly. It might be better to push the town out of B6. Stop that city build. I think my thought for Whispered Guidance was that I was going to save the Dahan in D2. Which I can't reach D1 with that. It'd either be D5 or D4. Next stage is stage 2, so we don't have information as to what that means yet. I could gather into D3. That's not a terrible thought. Now the only single Dahan left is B1. If I get rid of this town... Obviously, if I push you into B1, then that's worse for the next turn's Ravage, but might not be that big of a deal, honestly. Kind of want to keep those coastal as much as possible. Of course, the B6 Ravage is still going to happen. I think it's another power card for Bringer. Attempting to gain Major again. Or get Predatory Nightmares this time. Next element is Moon. If I gain a Major that is Moon, I will have 3 Moons and I could potentially hit the threshold on the Major. So let's gamble. Unlock the gates. Uh-huh. Yeah, we're definitely not hitting the threshold on that. We can play Unlock the Gates and gain another Major for myself. Volcanic Eruption does not destroy beasts or Dahan, as I cannot destroy anything other than my own presence. I am also not in the mountains right now, but I also can't afford this turn anyway. Ravage Undergrowth slithers back to life. Replace Blight with a Wilds. 1 fear, 3 damage. Push that Wilds. Does the replaced Blight not go back on the fear card? Maybe? I mean, I guess it probably does. 2 presence in a Wilds at range 1 obviously is really strong. But is it too slow? Doesn't have Moon on it. I'm not hitting the threshold. I feel like I just take Unlock the Gates just because that's major power spam. Forget Predatory Nightmares. This is presence range 1. I can't hit D2. That's okay. This can blight. That's the only blight. This will be defended almost assuredly. Build, 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 build. If Delusion's a danger. I could push the thief out of B6 into B8. We're gaining a power card here, right? Let's see if we can get a fast Explorer Destroy or something. Uh-huh. So I don't need Moon this turn. Defend 5 at range 1 would defend D2, but I don't care about D2. Isolate target land. Other thieves move 1 land towards their board's ocean if possible. But isolate prevents that, right? Or does it not? I assume that since it's a replace instruction, you don't think to dream affects it. You can use invader replacing powers pretty normally. Oh, are you saying for the major powers looking at with Bringer? I wasn't saying that Bringer is not going to replace the blight. I was thinking, does replace a blight not put the blight back on the blight card? Does it just go back into the box? But I think it would, because when you remove a blight, it doesn't explicitly say put it back on a blight card, but it does. That was what I was thinking about. But yeah, no, it certainly. if there was a power card that's to destroy a blight, then yeah, Bringer would not do that. I would love to destroy a blight. That would be fun. Repeat lowest cost power card by paying its cost again. Is that a thought? I will not be able to do likewise, as I will not have enough energy if I play my hand. Bringer will be playing Delusions and Unlock, and can play Delusions twice. Not sure about the value on that. The fear card we have is a gather a town into a coastal land. That might actually mean that the B6 build isn't happening. If I gather B1 into B2... So I think that's a check mark. I think it's independent of me repeating, but I think that's what's going to happen. I'm going to use Delusions of Danger to push that Explorer into B1 or wherever. I guess B8, and it just dies. Do I want to repeat the power so I can get the Thief into B8? I mean, as pretty much a temporary measure, it's going to go back into B6 immediately, but... But it's not going to build, because it's not an invader. They do not participate in invader actions. And there will only be one building next to B6. That's a check mark. There's no way we can prevent the D1 build, right? I'd have to get rid of everything in D1 fast, which is absolutely not happening. Any reason for each invader doing -1 damage? There's also Purifying Flame, which is okay elements. It doesn't give a moon, but it does give air plant, which will eventually be useful. I do need plants a lot more than they need moons. But damage per blight's not doing much. Mountain Sands blight removal would be okay, because we do have 2 of those. But I guess actually if I do click this and I play it, we will hit this and we'll get 3 fear this turn. Is that a reason to do it? Let's do it. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. Is it a good reason? No. Let's make a sacred site here. I mean, more fear can't ever be bad, right? And then Bringer, you don't need a sacred site. You would like to be in a land with an invader. You already are in one, but we do have a potential Dread Apparitions next turn. Can I guarantee that B1's defended? Or can I get D1 defended more easily? We do have, like, these powers. These powers do much. I can push Explore Towns. But I will have, like, Innate on Night Terrors. Depending on what this major is or what power card I see next turn, I'll probably have another Moon. I should be able to get... Or an animal, rather. I should be able to have enough fear to even defend D1. So I'd like to get Dahan in there if I can. I guess like B1 and D1. Well, D1's next to more Dahan. B1's next to 1 Dahan. Which is the annoying part, but... I feel like it kind of depends on what this major is. I'm gonna plot myself in D1. Okay. Target spirit gains an element they have at least one of, but there's 5 different elements I would need to hit the threshold on this, so that's not gonna do much. And then these don't have thresholds. And I would need a moon or a plant to get the upper threshold on that, so that's not going to do much. So not really much reason to do this just yet. Unless we're going to get enough fear to look at the next fear card. Which we potentially could. We do have 8 fear if I don't push the Explorer. But pretty much both of these are points of no return. Screw it, let's click myself. This fear card. Each player removes an explorer town from a land where it is the only invader. Interesting. Gain water. I don't know what event card. I don't know the event card distribution for, like, what's the likelihood that I'm gonna get an event card that's aided by whatever element. But I do know there's at least one water one, so. We did see a fire one. So if we get that event card, we can remove the Explorer from B6. Gather the town in B2, remove the Explorer in B6, and then, like, it doesn't build. And I don't have to use this to push the Explorer, I just generate fear. be nice if I could somehow also make it that that D3 doesn't build. But that seems like a tall order because there's 4 buildings next to it. If I could move 2 of those buildings, I mean, like, this building's dying in the Rouge, so I could push these 2 towns out. That'd be great, but I'm already using one of those pushes to get the town from B1 into B2. So that's not gonna work. Major's obviously on Bringer, he's the one with energy. Vigor of the Breaking Dawn. Well, these both have animals on them. I will definitely be able to afford... Well, I mean, I already can't afford both of these. Angry Bears. 2 fear, 2 damage. If no beasts are present, add a beast. Otherwise, plus 2 damage and push up to 1 beasts. If you have 2 fire, 3 animal, which we will not. Figure the Breaking Dawn is literally just 2 damage per Dahan. But it's range 2. That feels better. Even though it's fake damage, that's still a lot of fear. There's not really good lands for that, per se, but I could hit D3 with that next turn. And that would push all the things out of there and deal with that Ravage. Or I could put a Badlands at B1 and then deal 3 damage to the city and generate 5 fear. Then I click that and I do not forget. Fear. Fear. And then I guess... No, I was gathering this Dahan, wasn't I? To save it. Let's just do that. Okay, 2 fear cards. Search for unclaimed lands. On each board, explore in a land with the fewest total invaders, Dahan, no source required. Plagues and populous lands on each board add a disease to a land with 3 more invaders. Spreading conflict prompts caution on each board. Push up to 3 Dahan from a land matching a Ravage card to a land not matching a Ravage card. Okay. So on each board, exploring a land. So... yeah, pretty much all the empties. None of those are buildings, so this is illusion of choice over here. Let's just go D6 because there's already my sacred site in there. Oh. And because it's an explorer, it counts as that, huh? Okay, well then the smart thing is then D5. If you're going to forcibly put a thief on the board, let's make sure we don't also choose to add a thief on the board. I didn't think about that. Disease in a land with 3 or more invaders. That's forced. B1 and D2. On each board, push up to 3 Dahan from a land matching Ravage card to a land not matching a Ravage card. Obviously B8 to save the Dahan, and B4 we want it to Ravage. If I push this into B6, we'll see the number on this thief. Also B7, we'll see the number in that thief, but I'm more likely to want to see this one as it's more immediately relevant. And oh my gosh, it's a 3? Well, that's scary. Accelerate the invader deck 3 times. Yeah, that's that's bad news. There's only 1 3 too, so we had a 1 in 18 shot and we hit it. Yay. Get this town out and then D6 can't be seen. Remove explore town from a land where it's the only invader. Obviously we can't use fear cards for this, right? They're not explorers for any other rule or purpose, including fear cards. So Right, remove this explorer. That prevents that build. And then, like, the others doesn't really matter as much. Maybe one of these blighted ones, even though we do have Purifying Flame, which would target both of those lands. Or I could just remove this Explorer. Although there is 2 Dahan in there, so it would still die. Right, we were gonna do... Right, I remember now. Let's just remove the guy we added because we didn't want him anyway, right? Alright, moves close to the ocean, and then we have a choice here. Let's go in a land with no buildings. So we absolutely need to get rid of the guy in B1. Exploring wetlands again. So what can we do? We could just use eerie noises to push the thief out of B1. There's no blight nearby? Where's the blight on this board? Is B4? Oh, we could put it in B4 and then kill it. Kind of a waste of 1 damage, but there's not, like, any use to that damage anyway. We could potentially put a Badlands in there, push a town, and then destroy the town with Purifying Flame, but that thief is high priority as it's a number 3. The thief that was added to B6 is a number 0. And then the other thief in B5 we still don't know. Alright, so that Ravage, don't know yet. That Ravage, don't know yet. That Ravage should be solvable. B6 solves itself as it's not even building. Eyes is reclaiming next turn. We could use Boon of Watchful Guarding to defend 8 in D1. There's also like Dread Apparitions. But that's only going to defend 4. We'd like to get more Dahan in there, but we don't have the Dahan powers. I could take Dreams of the Dahan back, but that only, like... Yeah, it's only bringing 2 Dahan over. Yeah, so this is absolutely happening. Oh, but there's not 2 Dahan in here, so I can't kill it. But if I try to kill it and I can't, it gets pushed instead, and that's fine too. Wish I had a Sacred Site here, although I don't have... Right, never mind. What am I talking about? It's absolutely going in there. Try to get rid of another Explorer if possible. Diseasiness Wetlands is probably a good call. And then... just go farther inland. The farther inland you are, the less I have to worry about you immediately, as you're now 3 turns from being an issue. And while it is a 3, I mean... The fact that we know this is a 3 probably means it's useful, because that means we're not getting another 3. So any other thief that comes up can't be a 3. So maybe it's better to keep it on the board, as it's the danger you know versus the danger you don't know. Anyway, this is now not as big of a priority, but still have to deal with this wetlands mayhem. As we said, this is a reclaim, and you don't have energy for some reason. I don't know why. Defend? Anything that says defend is a Dahan gather. Favor of the Sun and Starlit Dark is actually really powerful here. Defend 4 is enough for B1 even with the Badlands. I mean, it's enough for the land, but also doesn't kill the Dahan. Sorry, to be clear, the Badlands does not increase the invader's damage to the land. So defend 4 is enough for B1 because it's 4 damage. With the Badlands, the invaders are dealing 5 damage to Dahan, but defend 4 makes sure that Dahan doesn't die. So that's good. It gathers Dahan, which then kills the city. That disease prevents a new build from happening. So then we don't have to worry about that immediately next turn. Downside, of course, is that that Badlands that is there is now going to have that Explore kill the Dahan next turn, but I feel like this is definitely the right call. It is a moon and a plant as well. So I like that for that reason. So we click that one. Also, we're going to probably play Boon of Watchful Guarding for D1. So I'm going to put check marks in these lands. That should be solved. My innate should defend this. And all I need is a moon. All my cards are plant. I want to try to keep the air cards for a later turn, so 1 fear, 1 damage. Unfortunately it's range 0, so I can't kill a thief with that. I could thrive the choke fungus again. Why not? Alright. Bringer. Just gain another minor power. Put off your reclaim all as much as you can. Uh-huh. I was originally going to Vigor of the Breaking Dawn in D3, but maybe... Oh, you know what? They're going to double build... No, they're not double building B1. What am I talking about? They're doing the England build in B2. The escalation is that you build in the land with the most buildings, right? Not related to the Explorer at all. Okay. I feel like I take Prowling Panthers as it's a moon and an animal, and that's really the only reason to. I mean, beasts are fine. I guess I could use it to quote-unquote destroy a town in D2. I feel like Vigor's not going to do much this turn. I don't need a Sacred Site this turn, do I? I could try to set up Dread Apparition. I could just grow into D4, can I? No, I can't. Okay. I guess Dread Apparition's not doing much, is it? So I guess I try to set up for Dread Apparition's next turn to help support D1 more. I'm gonna go into B2 for no... Oh, I can't even grow into B2. Okay, never mind then. I'm gonna grow into D2. Just so that I'm in lands with more invaders. Prowling Panthers... I guess... But like... Dread Apparitions isn't doing much this turn, but Vigor is also not doing much. I could use it in B6. But I can't destroy that thief. But that thief's not doing much, technically. But, like, it doesn't really do anything, period. I mean, Vigor doesn't really do much with Bringer anyway, except generate Oodles of Fear if we set this up right, which we're not currently. So maybe I just don't play these powers. Because Dread Apparitions isn't doing much this turn, as we have enough defend in D1 without it. I could play it to get an additional Fear and a Moon, which could give you another 2 fear there, so it's 3 fear total. But I also feel like that's not doing much. So let's just not play the cards. Let's play the card that I gained and nothing else, because I'm weird. I guess I could gain a major next turn or something. Fear... Defend. I guess we avoid the singleton from converting. Defend. I guess this is... Whoops, not what I wanted. Guess that's at risk of converting, though. Wait. What am I doing? I took the Dahan I didn't want to take. Did I? I don't know what I did. Defend this. This is what I want to take that guy. I mean, we're at risk of cultural assimilation here, for sure. Terror spikes upwards. If you have any earned fear cards, resolve the first one now as if the terror level were 1 higher, then discard it. Otherwise, 1 fear per player. Generated fear cannot cause final harvest. Which I've not seen this event card before. So final harvest, each city does +3 damage during ravage actions. After each ravage action, remove 1 building from that land. That's cool. But that's a terror level 3 thing, so that's why. Secure settled territory. On each board in a land with Badlands beasts and buildings, destroy a Badlands beasts. 1 damage to Dahan, 1 damage. Rude. War among the Dahan. On each board in the land with the most Dahan, minimum 2, push half the Dahan round down. So destroy a Badlands or beasts. On each board in a land. So yeah, this board is forced here. Destroys the Badlands. Damages the Dahan. Deals 1 damage. But that's fine. We'll still kill its city. This beast is dying. I don't have any other damage here. I can't destroy the town anymore. Just kill the explorer, I guess. In each board in land with the most Dahan, minimum 2, push 2. I want to keep those Dahan there, so these 2 are pushing. I'm going to put... Oh, push half. Okay, never mind. But this is really good. I like that. Event card that we didn't know. Each player may downgrade a town in a coastal land. I like that. Just minimize the England. Or the London, I guess. Thieves adjacent, blah, blah, blah. Oh. Now we don't know which one is which. Ha, ha. Thieves' numbers are unknown by default, but known while lands 2 or more Dahan. And so we knew one of them was a 0, but one of them moved in that we didn't know about. So they did a little shuffle animation so you can't cheat and know which one is which. So you don't know which one of them is which. Go in that one. And then kill the city. Jungle. All right, we are in a winning position here because they didn't explore 2 jungles. As soon as England can't explore into an inner land, you've won, right? That said, it's only because they explored jungles that happened, but I'll take that. Okay, mountains, jungles, literally just 1 fear, add beasts, thriving choke fungus, disease, and badlands. We can kill the 2 thieves in B1 if I can gather a Dahan into there and use vigor, which all that requires is a defend. I mean, there's 2 other lands that quote-unquote need defend, but it's not really that big of a priority to defend those. Even if these blight, the Dahan kill everything. So I'm okay with getting rid of these 2 thieves. Would also like to get rid of the thief in B6. But I don't know how possible that is. Let's... Oh, I don't have range there. I want to drive that just choke fungus! Rawr. I can't thrive that choke fungus either. I can't choke fungus the thriving London. My sacred sites are in bad places. I guess they are building jungles, so we'll disease that one. And then mountain, jungle. Both of these are Londons. I'm set up for this one, except I can't put it there. We'll put the beasts back to where it was. Even though technically it's probably better to have a board without beasts, but details. We could play 4 cards. I will not have energy to play 4 cards, probably. Should I start going up energy track? Or should I play 4 cards and just ignore energy? Should I just be a minor power spirit? Let's be a minor power spirit. I'm looking for something that's free but also gives me elements. How about minor powers? What about minor powers? This also says gather Dahan, which is actually kind of important. The downside is if I click that, I'm not playing 3 powers, but I could just go up energy track, even though it doesn't immediately give me anything. But it allows me to gather 2 Dahan into B1. Target with destroyed spirit presence. We do have a destroyed presence. Alright, I'm clicking this one. I was going to try for 4 card plays, but I changed my mind. I'm just going to put my presence there. I'm very confident that things are going to go fine. Maybe I'm overconfident, but... Actually, no. Hold on. I can solve all the thief problems in one swoop. Hold on. Gather Dahan, damage. These guys are both dead. Screw you. Dread Apparitions is useful for D1 this turn. Well, I could take a major and replace one of the cards in my discard. Just be the bringer that keeps losing powers. Tiger's hunting, but D2 has a blight. Flocking red talons. That is a lot of words. Didn't I say last week this is a lot of words to say 1 damage to each invader, pretty much? This says remove. That says remove. God damn, if I could afford to play these 2 cards, I would actually hit the threshold on this. God, I'm so tempted to click that because that's a million fear. But the game's not over, despite how I'm kind of like playing as if it is. Like, I would really like to just click D2 with this. The problem is I can't play both Vigor and Manifest, and I was going to do Vigor and V1 to kill everything, but maybe I got to play it smart and not do that, but I could take it and use it next turn. Sitting on 8 energy, I'm using 5, so I'll have 3 plus 4, so I'll have 7. And I could play Delusions of Danger and Manifest and potentially hit that threshold. And I'll also have an any. Okay, so I think I take that. I also have this to remove things, but that's lame. Get rid of Prowling Panthers. And then put as many presents into D2 as possible. I have an any, but I don't need to gain it just yet. It's probably going to be Moon, though. I don't think there's a reason for it to not be Moon. One more card play here. Another Sun doesn't hit that threshold. So giving the Moon to you for 5 fear. Okay. Also, Dread Apparitions combos with Mischief and Sabotage. In case we needed more defend than the 12, but, you know. Alright, so Spirit gains an element they have at least one of, and also turn a fear card face up, skip the next normal build. The build card remains in place instead of shifting left. Gain an air. The only wetlands I can hit with this is this one, but first let's make sure I do this right. Do Mysterious Abductions there to kill that guy. Put a Destroyed Presence there. I guess I don't have to. I could just gather this to hunt. Okay. Gather that guy. And then Vigor. I guess these guys don't actually die. But we see there's zeros now, so we don't care. Well, I guess we still slightly care, but let's just throw it there. I guess it doesn't matter. That guy will die in a Ravage anyway. That actually means I didn't need to use Vigor. I guess I still wanted to protect my accumulated fear, I guess. Unless there's some... Unless I end this turn with 0 fear in the fear pool. But I think I'm ending with 2. Dread Apparitions, Night Terrors, defend 5. 6. Defend 6. Okay. The Frontier Calls. Explore actions add plus explorer to lands without buildings. Lair in untamed lands. On each board, add a beast to a land without buildings or blight. Seek out new grounds. On each board, gather 1 or 2 Dahan into a land without Dahan setup symbols. Okay. Without buildings or blight. So they did wetlands and jungle, so it's sands, mountains, or coastal. So this is 2 of the 3. And this is all inland and boring, but sands, mountains, coastal. Let's just do sands, I guess. I don't know. I don't think they're exploring those lands anyway. Gather 1 or 2 Dahan into a land without Dahan setup symbols. I'm guessing D1 didn't have setup symbols because they can't gather in there. Take that one. Take that one. Those 2. It's fine. And then... Oh, there's still a singleton here. Wait, was B4 an option? It was. There is actually a way to see the setup symbols with the spirit insight. Yeah, so D1 had setup symbols, so I don't know what. So 1, 2, 3. Oh, so it was. Okay, those are the 4 lands. I'm just stupid. Okay. Yeah, but yeah, so these are the ones that have Dahan setup symbols. So this one doesn't have, these 4 don't have Dahan setup symbols. But you can see here that on the very bottom it says setup symbols, town to Dahan. But yeah, you still have to use the spirit insight to see that. Again, just like click here. These lands are irrelevant anyway. Skip the next normal build. On each board, gather up to 3 explorer towns from a single land into a land with 2 or more invaders. Could gather a town here. Could get rid of the explorers here just so that we don't have to deal with that ravage next turn. So gather town and that's it. Because it's only defend 4. Gather those 2. These escape, but they're 0s. Or no, they don't rather escape, but they go closer to the coast. Exploring sands. Also, they didn't really build jungles, so I kind of pushed the explorers out for nothing. Yes, I know that land's diseased, but I preserved the disease for what it's worth. How do the thieves work again? So, there are 18 thieves, 12 blanks, and 6 with numbers 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. They arrive with explorers when they successfully explore into a land numbered 6 or higher, so you add a thief from the pool. Before the ravage step, all thieves move. Thieves adjacent to the ocean escape, and the number on them accelerates the invader deck that number of times. Other thieves move 1 land towards their board's ocean if possible, but otherwise they do not count as invaders, they do not participate in invader actions, and they can only be affected by player actions as if they were explorers, and are not affected by fear cards, event cards, etc. They have 1 health for damage purposes. Their numbers can be uncovered when they're in a land with 2 or more Dahan, and they can only be destroyed in lands with no buildings and 2 or more Dahan. Otherwise, they are pushed. When you would destroy a thief, you generate 1 fear. And that's that. So the only slow power is Whisper Guidance through the night. Gather 3 Dahan and 1 fear of invaders, and Dahan are present. We have no Ravage next turn. We have an upcoming Manifest Incarnation. And we're gonna hit the threshold on that, which means gathering Dahan into D2 would be nice, but I can't. Okay. I could gather into B2. Not sure what purpose that has, but let's do that for now. The thieves on the board right now are these two, and they're carrying a crate. The crate reveals the number when they're in a land with 2 or more Dahan. We don't know what their numbers are right now, but we did see they were zeros previously. All right, so we said here, this is reclaim 1. We want... okay. We want Sun Moon. Reclaim, unlock the gates, yes. I'm just gonna click D2. And then we can either use our innate to gain a sun or just our any to gain a sun. I guess it's the any, as we don't need it for any other purpose. And then you're gaining the minor. You're getting to +2 energy, so you can play these plus the 0 energy card, so it has to be this. Unless we don't. Just do that. This is a sacred site one again. None of these are helpful for D2. And I'm not going to have a sacred site next to D2. So my Manifest Incarnation is a bit sad, actually, in D2, but I will generate a lot of fear with that. I get 6 fear, 3 fear off the threshold, +1 for each building, +1 for each presence. I have 3 presents, 3 buildings, they're building in there, and they could escalate. So there could be 5 buildings in there, 3 presents, so that's 8 fear, +9 on the card. Like, that's a lot of fear. But anyway, range 1, targeting mountains. Target B2 with Gold's Alert would be silly, but I mean... I don't know. I need... What do I need? More sacred sites? D2 visibility? D2 visibility. And then you get a moon. Each player adds strife and land with Dahan. Invaders have -1 health per strife. Gain moon. Fear? Sands build? So get rid of this guy. Because that does actually stop that build. There's no Ravage. And these 2 thieves are escaping, but they have zeros, but they will destroy our accumulated fear. So I do want to generate some fear. I would kind of like to put Dahan in D2. But how viable is that? You have a fear card that says Strife in a land with Dahan, -1 health for Strife, blah, blah, blah. I mean, oh, but I can't reach that. Right, I keep forgetting because I don't have a secret site there. Okay, well, those are the builds. I suppose the order of operations here matters, as D6 potentially builds if these two build first, but would it be jungle first then sands, or does it go sands then jungle? It should be jungle first, right? Right? Question mark? Oh, and that's technically building-ish, but not really. I guess it was always building, even in the previous turn when I said that. I remember the explorers, but yeah. Anyway, it doesn't matter. No ravage, those builds, blah, blah, blah. Just generate the fear. Nothing to gather. No bravery without invaders. Invaders do not ravage in lands unless there are more invaders than the current terror level. Okay. Prey on the heedless. In each land with beasts, damage per beasts. Leave the hostile land in each land. Push a Dahan per Badlands disease to lands without Badlands disease. Wait, hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, there's no Dahan in that land. Urgh! Damn it. Wait. There might be a Dahan in the land. Maybe. Depends on the next fear card. No, we only have the one. Okay, never mind. Okay, I thought I was being smart. I was being dumb. Okay. Thought I was being smart. Only in a land with Dahan. And there's only one land with Dahan and invaders. For some reason. Okay. We lose fear, but we didn't actually... Okay, they did do jungle first. Postal. Alright, so then the -6 damage is after removing City Town Explorer. Yeah, so this is not going to blight. I mean, I don't really care, but still, it's not blighting. Manifest Incarnation! Very epic Ravage. 10 out of 10 Ravage. Okay, we are now on no cities. We are 16 fear away from winning. Sure, it'd be nice if I could remove the cities, but probably just gonna be continued fear domination, if anything. Oh man, I really wish I could just... Wait, hold on. I have a thought. I can Gould's Allure... Strife you, and then Purifying Flame to kill that town. There we go. We use the minus health to its advantage. Alright, next turn is stage 3. There's 4 buildings in there. So it's fine to do that. So where are we at? This is the very first time that Bringer is reclaiming all, by the way. We have successfully gained 4 major powers and have yet to reclaim all. That's kind of cool. But unfortunately we must, so we're not growing this turn. Ravage. Build. Not really super worried about the Ravages. I kind of want to see if I can win. But there's also 2 fear cards at tier level 3, so it's like I'm like not super worried. Can I just generate oodles of fear and win? Sucking ooze? Vigor probably just... Wait, does Bringer just do it? Or Vigor do it? Right? Because it's... There's 3 Dahan in there. That's 6 damage against the 2 cities. That's 10 fear. 5 and 8 is 13. Yeah, and then we just went... Okay, I have nothing to worry about. Everything's fine. There's also fear here. That one. It looks like a card. This could threshold it if I really wanted. Can't really. I tried. But I can get that going. Whatever. Whatever. I don't have Sacred Sight there still. Defend that one. Can't defend that one. Just generate fear. What am I doing? Just generate fear. Just need 3 fear to win. Okay. Almost had 5 fear cards at tier level 3, but... The invaders' morale has been broken through sheer terror. They flee the island as quickly as possible. 54! Yes! 54! So 10 for victory, 30 for difficulty 6, 10 for the 5 remaining invader cards, 6 for the 12 surviving Dahan. I don't think we added or removed any Dahan this game, which is cool. -2 for the 4 blight on the island. I don't think we removed any blight this game. So the 2 blight were what? B2 or whatever that board is, 2 and 4. This one was there, this one was there. So, cool. So that is Despicable Theft. Certainly changed the way that we approached the game. Had to worry about the thieves on top of the invaders. Thankfully, we never had to deal with the accelerate, even though there was a thief with a 3 in the game at one point, but all the other thieves were 0s, so they were rather lame. But all good. Kind of cool. Kind of like that scenario. First thought was that Bringer was going to have a hard time dealing with the thieves, but the fact that we could circumvent losing fear by just ending the turn with 0 earned fear is pretty nice. Because that means that the 0 thieves aren't like game ending if you have to leave them on the board. And the 3, obviously, you have to deal with, but you can just push the issue down the road by putting them inland. So it's just an extra thing to keep an eye on, but not like terribly game breaking or terribly game changing or anything. So that was cool. Bringer with 4 major powers at the end of the game. Unfortunately, Unlock the Gates, the deepest power, didn't really do that much other than give us Vigor of the Breaking Dawn. But at least we had a really cool Manifest Incarnation that gave us 16 fear. And then no blight off that Ravage, so that was cool. Eyes Watch might seem like wasn't as epic because of the lack of major powers, but let's not forget that we used Mischief and Sabotage a lot with top threshold. I think that's probably the first time I've really hit the top threshold on multiple turns. Not that it's a terribly hard thing to do, it's just I never really went. Like, I only started doing the energy track by the end of the game, and at that point, like, I think I just did middle growth option or something. I just didn't care. Or I don't think I did, actually. I did this. I don't know. I did something. But in any case, like, that was a fun fear game. And as always in Spirit Island, the best way to win is to scare the invaders. Unfortunately, we're 10 days too late for Halloween for the fear theme, but in any case, that was a fun game. Next week, we are going to take on the next scenario, which is a diversity of spirits. A scenario that is normally made for the in-person physical board game where you can't communicate verbally with the other players and can't show their cards or whatever, but works differently in single player. If you don't know how this works differently in single player, be sure to check it out next week. But until then, check out Handelabra Live every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Check out my stream every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Check out all of the Handelabra products. Spirit Island's next expansion, Nature Incarnate, has started. Its first stage of its release came out last week with Ember-Eyed Behemoth and 2 aspects, but there's more down the road. More releases coming soon. Check out Handelabra Live to see demos of the content before it is publicly available. Also, Aeon's End on phones has been announced to be in development, and there was one stream involving that in the recent past, so you can check that out as well. Sentinels of the Multiverse 2 has also been announced to be in development, and yeah, pretty much the place to go to see concept before it's publicly available is Handelabra Live. If you just want to see someone play the game strategically, then watch me, but otherwise, you know. That's it. That's all I have to say. Have a good night, everyone.